Tony Quant here for Wire TV. Absolutely delighted to be joined by Paul Daley. Paul, how are you? We're in London, looking out over Leicester
again.
Square.
I know. It's become a familiar view with these Bellator press conferences, but yeah, I'm happy to be back here, yeah.
And what have you made of the reception of Bellator? I mean, probably a couple of years ago, the Bellator London cards were very much seen as a sort of second, hand-me-down to the States cards, because there was a lot more investment in the States. But obviously now, David Green and Scott Coker have just been mentioning the investment in the European series. Have you found that as a fighter? So, the casual fans are more engaged and sort of recognising you more, and are you getting more feedback from fans in regards to these Bellator European cards?
Well, I think the fans are enjoying it because there's more mixed martial arts available for them to watch. And I think that the idea of having this European series is something that should have been done years ago. And I'm surprised that other promotions didn't see the opportunity to approach mixed martial arts and build talent and build an audience in this manner. You know what I mean? For me, it makes sense. It's effectively scouting, just like what you do in football. You go to these countries where there's talent, you look for the best players and you put them on a platform so that they display their skills, and that's what Bellator's doing. They're doing a fantastic job, and it's good. It's good to see.
And you seem in very good spirits. Obviously, we're a few days away from the fight.
Yeah.
As a veteran of the sport, do you still actually, does this kind of stuff still excite you? Is it hard to, I suppose other than the fight itself, can you still get excited for this kind of stuff?
Yeah, I like doing the talking. I don't like waiting around. I like doing this. I like being able to engage with the press and engage with my fans. And I love the sport. Obviously, this part's routine. You have to do this all the time, so it can be a bit tedious. But when I get a chance to actually open my mouth and speak, it's something that never gets boring.
And talking about the fight on Saturday night, obviously you're up against Erick Silva. All the fans are hoping for a stand and bang kind of fight, and you've predicted you're gonna knock him out. How do you foresee the fight going? And is it going to end with Erick Silva on the ground looking up at the Wembley Arena? Yeah,
most definitely. I think he's going to come out very aggressive, close the distance, try and get into clinching range and trying to attempt to take down from there. I'm prepared for that. Maybe he gets clipped rushing in. Maybe it goes on later on in the fight and I take him out. But I'm prepared for him to come to close the distance, to try and get the fight to the floor. And obviously I'm going to be looking for the knockout. And I think I'm going to knock him out. He's a nice guy, but he hasn't got the strongest of chins. And I'm super sharp. I've trained very, very well. And not only in this preparation, but my previous preparation, the MVP fight, I put in a lot of time. In my entire game, so I've got a little bit of that coming over with me into this preparation that I had to do specifically for Erick Silva.
And sort of a few years back, you were obviously both in the UFC at some stage. Do you feel that if the fight had happened at that stage, it would have been a different fight as to what we can expect? You've both grown as fighters since then.
Yeah, but possibly. You know what? Erick came into the UFC with a lot of hype. And I was one of those guys that was excited to see him fight. And, he had a few good fights and then he sort of dropped off. But he still looked solid. He still looked like a good, complete fighter. But I just don't think that he's got enough for me.
And how difficult is it in the build-up to a fight? Obviously, with, you and MVP, it was very easy for you guys to go back and forth, because how difficult is the language barrier fighting a Brazilian in actually sort of building up the fight? Obviously everything goes through a translator and we don't really know what he's actually saying kind of thing. Does that make it more difficult, or you obviously thrive in the build up to fight, so does it sort of get you more excited when you get into the cage if you've had that sort of back and forth interaction?
You know what, I got a feeling, maybe it's a sixth sense. As a fighter you get a feeling for what is about to happen, and you know what, it doesn't matter what he says, whether it's in Brazilian, Russian or whatever language. When we look at each other, we stare each other in the eyes, there's some kind of energy there where what something explosive is going to happen, and I think he is going to bring it for that first 30 seconds, try and close the distance, and I feel that he's in the fight. Sometimes you feel like your opponent's maybe disengaged from the fight, but no, he's 100% committed to this fight and he's going to bring it. Believe me, he's going to bring it.
And obviously the prep for this fight, in comparison to your last fight, has it been much different, or is it much of the same?
Much of the same. I think I found a very good formula in the preparation for the MVP fight. I've enjoying doing the jiu-jitsu and the gi. I'm wrestling. I'm enjoying it. You know, you say I've been in it a long time, but I'm really now. I'm enjoying it. I feel like I've got a formula that is working for me. I'm here in the UK. You know, I'm bringing great specialists in. I'm over in Holland. I'm training at the best kickboxing gyms. You know, I'm 36, but I think I'm in better shape now than I was maybe 6 years ago or whatever. But yeah, I'm ready to go 100%.
I suppose that's the joy of the sport, isn't it? The different elements to it. You know, whilst people will say Paul Daley, all he is a striker. Clearly, you know, there's much more to the game. Is there a particular element of the game that may surprise people that you actually enjoy the most? You know,
I love jiu-jitsu. You know, I own a gym back in Nottingham, and we run jiu-jitsu classes. And you'll often find me, well, 9 times out of 10, if I'm not preparing for a fight, I'm in the gi and I'm training those classes. You know, I hold a purple belt. I train regularly with black belts as well, and I love all aspects of the sport. And I think, you know, obviously my reputation is built on knocking people out, but since day one, I've been a martial arts fan. I love everything to do with the martial arts, not just those that are most commonly involved with MMA, but all of it. And, you know, that's what keeps me going. It's that passion of the martial arts that keeps me going.
So a Paul Daley submission is not something we should overrule for Saturday night, especially against a Brazilian.
If it's there and I could take it, I will take it. Like if I fucked him up on the feet and you know, I've got him all over the place and he does something stupid, I'm prepared to take that risk.
And obviously off the back of the MVP fight, I mean, do you feel like the potential for a title fight has obviously, you know, moved away from you? Or what do you need to do to get back into that title contention?
You know what? My mindset, as you might, people will call me deluded. He most definitely will call me deluded. But I am so not begrudging that fight, because in my mind, I feel I won. I feel I won the fight, and I feel it. I don't, you know, the initial disappointment of not getting your hand raised is there, but you know, I just don't feel that he won the fight. And so taking that going forward, I feel in no different position than I was before the fight. There's still lots of exciting matchups with me. I'm always in championship or title contention because I bring that kind of heat.
And obviously they just announced a card for September in Dublin. Would you be excited to get onto that fight, or are you more interested in you know, if it's not London, you want it stateside kind of thing?
I would prefer to fight London or the US, but I do have an Irish fan base. You know, I've fought their kickboxing 2 or 3 times. I've done seminars over there, so I know there's people there in Ireland that know Semtex, and they like to see me fight. So if the opportunity comes and the right opponent's there, then possibly it's something that we could do.
And so Saturday night, all the stars align. What round do you finish the fight in?
First round. He comes in like a madman, which I know he's going to do. He's going to get smashed and he's going to go down. So yeah, first round.
You don't get paid overtime.
Don't get paid overtime, and he's stupid.